threats. What does that look like for the community to support these families as their hearts are so broken and they're lost after such a tragedy?
Well, it's going to be a long road, and one of the positive outlooks on this is that help for the mental health aspect of a tragedy like this is within arm's reach now, and that goes for first responders as well. There's really no stigma anymore attached to seeking out help if you really need it. I have a friend who was on that scene in Georgia, who specifically was there moments after this tragedy with the mental health first aid capacity. So, that's part of the response now is people that are trained, ex-law enforcement or otherwise, are immediately dispatched to these scenes to help those that are suffering immediately and will continue to suffer from this.
Yeah, their heartbreak joining a community no one wants to be a part of. Meantime, we're learning pretty quickly, less than 24 hours after this shooting took place, about previous run-ins with law enforcement. Specifically, more than a year ago, the FBI alerted to some threats that this 14-year-old allegedly had made. Talk to me about the communication once that sort of red flag is signaled, that gets passed along to the school to monitor someone who they deem a concern.
Well, that's one thing you don't want to hear after the fact is that this person has been identified in the past as a possible threat. Because now what you're going to have is a lot of blame going around. But it also should be instructive. You should want to look for answers. That's one of the things that I'm looking at right now is what did this person say in his past threats? What could have been done to stop it? Could the guns have somehow been taken away? Could this person have gotten mental health treatment that was mandated by the court? And those answers are all going to come out during this investigation. It might take some time, but right now, that's really what people don't want to hear is that there could have been a chance to stop this. And unfortunately, this person, even though he was identified as a possible threat, unfortunately, it did not prevent him from carrying out something like this.
Equally troubling, Chief, is a phone threat that came in the morning of this shooting against 5 of the schools. I understand the difficulty that law enforcement has in trying to decide what is a credible threat and what is not, and when to close down schools. In your experience, what's proper protocol when you have an individual who was on the radar and then a threat come in?
Well, this threat, because it was targeted, it wasn't a general threat that said there's going to be a school shooting. Apparently, the threat was very specific about the schools, and at this school, Apalachee High School, was going to be the first school that was going to suffer a school shooting. When that information comes across, law enforcement is going to be notified immediately. They're going to start an investigation. That can take some time because the person might be using internet protocol, they might be using a spoofed phone number, and so they might not be able to track down where this information is coming from to track it back to its source. However, the school superintendent should have been notified, local law enforcement should have been notified, the schools, teachers, everyone, and at least if they didn't make a decision to close the school, at least on some type of a modified school day where no one was let in that wasn't supposed to be there, no one was let out if anybody left. But in this situation, it was an inside threat. It was a student that belonged at the school. It's going to remain to be seen how he was able to leave, where he was storing the weapon, because he left his algebra class apparently, got the weapon, and came back with it. Wasn't allowed back in because the doors locked automatically, which is great security protocol, but nonetheless, he was allowed to leave and get a weapon. I think more maybe should have been done in terms of that threat because it was very specific to that school.
Yeah, I know all that will be part of the ongoing investigation as they do a lot of interviews and put together a timeline of these events. Chief Christopher Vanghele, appreciate your expertise as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.